Nicole Malliotakis, it's good to have you back on. Okay, we know Republicans are looking into Russia funding anti-fracking climate activists to destroy U.S. energy independence. Russia has repeatedly hacked into the U.S. power grid, a big hack 4 years ago, right? Congressman Green, does Putin know the power grid is not ready to take on a flood of electric cars? It could collapse the system.
Of course he does, and now we have evidence that I think several $1 million have been routed through nonprofit organizations in Bermuda to basically attack our energy industry, to push the anti-fracking business, in the environmentalist claims. So it's a huge, massive disinformation campaign from Putin. It's right up there with his involvement in our elections. And, you know, this whole Steele dossier stuff that was the nice shiny object that took the mainstream media, and a lot of them anyway, and a bunch of Democrats off track and distracted while he was advancing his agenda. And
Congresswoman, to the Congressman Green's point, electric cars are now less than 1% of all cars on the road. If all cars went electric, we need to double our electricity output. That means more coal and nat gas to power our electric grid. That's what powers 2/3 of U.S. electricity, Congresswoman.
In New York City, where I'm from, they actually want to prohibit any new home development unless it is connected to just electric-powered heat. Think about that. No more natural gas. This is what is happening with the far left in charge. They are actually feeding right into people like Putin's hands by making sure that we are not exploring our energy independence right here at home. It is critically important that we do that. We know that these totalitarian regimes, dictators, tyrants, that they use disinformation campaigns, as my colleague just said. The question is, why are the Democrats playing into their hands? We need energy independence now.
Yeah.
It's a matter of national security and economics for American families.
Yeah, to the Congresswoman's point, let's listen to Republican Congresswoman Kathy McMorris Rodgers with us last night on this topic of the GOP sending letters to climate groups saying, come clean, talk to us and where you're getting your funding from. Watch this.
When I visited the Ukraine in 2015 with the Energy and Commerce Committee, the Ukrainians as well as NATO warned us that President Putin in Russia was funding the NGOs, the non-government organizations, as well as other environmental groups that were opposed to fracking in Europe. We are asking questions of U.S. environmental groups due to a suspicious foundation in San Francisco and their ties to this foundation as to whether Putin also has been influencing American environmental groups to shut down American energy.
Listen, you know, Russia's Putin, Congressman Green, has been really worried about U.S. fracking and energy for more than a decade. He feels it's a threat to Russian interests. You know, when U.S. fracking took off last decade, the oil prices dropped by half. That's when he sat up and took notice. Former NATO Secretary General Hillary Clinton has been warning about Russia funding propaganda against fracking and U.S. energy. What do you say, Congressman Green?
Well, absolutely. When we produce and when we're energy independent and the supply of oil and gas is coming from our wells, the price of that gas and oil decreases massively. You'll recall that actually the price of oil went negative. They had to pay people to come get it out of the wells back when Trump was president. So when that happens, Putin loses tons of billions of dollars because of the price fall.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Of course he's going to push, you know, an anti-fracking, disinformation campaign because it increases the price of gas and makes him more money.
That's right. And Congressman Malliotakis, Tesla increased the prices of its entire lineup of electric vehicles 5% to 10%, shortly after the Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg was pushing electric cars. Watch Democrats again say the solution to your high gas prices is buying an expensive electric car. Watch this.
Today, the average gas price in America hit an all-time record high of over $4 per gallon. I'm willing to pay $4 a gallon. Hell, I'll pay $15 a gallon because I drive a Tesla.
Perhaps if you let the market work in this respect, people will feel pain. They'll take a second look at that Ford F-450 gigantoid truck. They'll reconsider a Tesla. You'll see hybrid innovation.
I'm happy to be standing here sandwiched between our two electric vehicles. Secretary Buttigieg and I both have two of the electric vehicles.
We have to move to clean energy solutions. Clean is, in the end, where we should be so that we don't find ourselves in this position again.
That's it.
And there's no sound or fume.
There is nothing.
So how do I know it's actually working?
It is.
Okay, again and again and again, we got to take this point up. Congressman Malliotakis, U.S. electricity is powered by natural gas and coal and fossil fuels, about 2/3 of that. If we go all electric, you're going to have to basically ratchet that up in order to power electric cars. Your final word.
Absolutely right. Look, the Democrats have had a war on cars. Look at New York City, the congestion pricing proposal, increased tolls, eliminating parking spots. This is just another example of why they want to increase the cost for drivers, hoping that they'll move to electric, but it really doesn't make a difference because, again, as you said, electricity powered by natural gas. Look what Cuomo did with Indian Point nuclear power plant, reducing 26% of New York City's electricity. It's ridiculous, and now people are paying skyrocketing costs.
Got it. Congressman Green, Congressman Malliotakis, thanks for joining us. The Senate voted